All right, welcome back to What the Farm. This is Jim. Typically on my channel, I talk about silly little things in my life or things that I've done. Today, I want to talk about something that I saw on the tube today, YouTube. I'm a huge consumer of YouTube stuff, not just uh, living on a farm and making content about how my silly animals behave. Um, Earlier today was the debut episode of Brett Cooper, who used to work for the Daily Wire's new YouTube channel, and there were some things in there that like it just it's not it from being a person who's 50. uh like we're coming looking at the world completely different, and that's fine and it's good, but there were things in there that she's confused about, and in her first episode she's talking about how the people who voted for Trump, or we're having a right wing cancel culture, and that we need to stop doing that. And specifically, she was talking about the Bud Light boycott, which happened as a result or a response to them hiring a guy named Dylan Mulvaney, who's was is a trans woman, right? And this cost Bud Light tons of market share, tons of money, and she's saying that that is the same thing as being canceled for some thing that you said 10 or 15 years ago. And I guess I would politely like to point out that that is completely different. When people boycott a product, they don't normally stop consuming the product. They go elsewhere. So if you stop buying Doritos potato chips or Doritos nacho chips, you typically go find a replacement for Doritos chips. And in order for Doritos to get you back, they're going to have to do something really dramatic, to make it worth your time. Because once you start having other tastes, you stop being interested in that. And that's exactly what happened to Bud Light. There is many, many, many other beer companies making crappy light beer to drink. And people went elsewhere. And um, just getting Dana White to talk nice about you and paying Dana White and UFC $1 billion to keep your brand alive and help you rebrand. That's not going to get people to switch back to drinking your beer. Um, it's intellectually dishonest to associate those two things. Um, there was a big effort during COVID, if you remember, by the Democrats to boycott uh, Goya, all their foods, and there may be people that did that. I certainly didn't, but I don't know where you would go. But if you switch to some other Mexican food, you know, manufacturer, distributor, why would you have any reason to go back? Your choice, your taste changed. You made a choice, and you're going to live with it. Um, in the event that Bud Light became the only light beer that was left on Earth, I'm sure that people would buy it. But you know, contrary to an individual who is canceled, when a corporation loses market share, that's not, you can't ever really get that back. And Bud Light planned on gambling that people would get bored and go back to it. But when there's 200 other light beers that you can drink, they start liking other things. And Bud Light was just garbage swill anyway. You can have Natural Light or Miller Light or Youngling. Anyway, there's just, I know from a 20-year-old's perspective, it may look like, we could just undo this damage, but when you damage your market share, um, like that is much harder to recover from than, you know, you were canceled because you said something racist 15 years ago, which wasn't even racist at the time, and it's not necessarily racist now. People just decided it's racist. But you're not a business. If my YouTube channel disappears, like it's not going to mean anything to anybody. And when people lose their social media, it doesn't mean anything either. Um, there's a lot less going on when it's an individual being canceled than when it's a corporation who's by their choices are losing um, customer base, and that's just a fact of life. Um, the younger people may not like it, but that's just true. Uh, she also talked about Disney, and there are people who, including this person right here, that I will never give Disney another dollar in my life. Not because of anything they've done any recently. My kids grew up, and I don't have to give Disney money anymore. I don't want to go to Disney World. I don't want to spend ridiculous amounts of money to go stand in line places. And I've been to Disneyland. There's nothing there for me. So I don't care what they do with their politics. And they did some stuff that was, at least from the news and things, that is pretty horrendous about their attitude towards children. And they went out and bought all of the good franchises and have destroyed them, in my personal opinion. So I hope they never make another penny. That's the idea of you have freedom of thought, is that you are not required to like somebody just because at one point in time they did something that you perceive as good for society. People change, businesses change, the market changes, the world changes, um, and you're entitled to your opinion. I like trying to tell people they need to think differently because of one thing or another, or it'll make people feel better. That isn't going to do it. She is actually ironically doing the very same thing that she, like 3 months ago, was speaking against. That other people shouldn't be able to tell you how you think. Now she's telling you how you should think. Um, I have no problem with Brett Cooper. I'm a fan. I watch her stuff. I watched her show today. My only real complaint is you left Daily Wire and you're doing advertisements on your show on the first day for your sponsors. You have almost 1 million subscribers. Why did you don't like this corporate owned nonsense that like you just carried it with you? Um, I just thought that was a little sad, maybe even disappointing. But that's what I got. If you have any comments, leave them. I'd love to hear the debate or have the debate. And I'll see you next time. Bye.